My group project partners keep pressuring me to drink and smoke even though I've told them I'm not interested, and they mock me for being too innocent and won't drop it no matter how many times I try to set boundaries, and I feel upset and stuck working with them. Posted by you/Trilia? I apologize in advance for the long post. You have been warned. For a bit of background, I, 17F, am just about at the end of my first year of university. I'm that stereotypical good girl, no drinking, smoking, drugs of any kind, sex, etc. I have no problems with other people enjoying these things, but at this point in my life, I'm focused on my education and career and not particularly interested in any of that stuff. In one of my classes, we've been doing a group project for the second half of the semester. All of my group project members, 25s to 44s, are significantly older than me, and when I made the mistake of mentioning my age to them, they found it rather endearing. Ever since we started working together, they've been making jokes about how I'll start drinking, smoking marijuana eventually, that it's inevitable, and that it's silly I'm so innocent. My response to this has been to politely shut that down. I'm not particularly interested in any of that stuff, can we talk about the project? Etc., and move on, and it honestly hasn't bothered me too much up until this point. One of my group members, Carmen, an older woman in her 40s, maybe, is very sweet but nosy, and a few weeks ago, I dropped my purse and my bottle of antidepressants fell out. She grabbed them and asked me why I had them, and I explained calmly that they were antidepressants and that I needed them, and took them back. She told me that I was young and didn't need that stuff. I honestly didn't care that much and just changed the subject. This becomes relevant, I promise. The other day, the one member of our group who doesn't bug me about my innocence was out sick, and Carmen decided that was the time to really lay into me about it. Our other group project member, Miguel, got into it too. They were talking about getting together over the weekend to work on the project, and I offered the use of my flat, as it's close to the university. They immediately started saying that they were going to bring over beer and marijuana, and help me grow up. I told them that it was fine if they wanted to drink and smoke, but they would not be allowed to smoke inside my flat, and I would not be partaking in any of the festivities. They started hounding me about how I'm too innocent and need to have some fun for once. I repeated that it was fine if they wanted to do that sort of thing, but I'm underage and also not interested. I've been able to change the subject in the past, but this time they wouldn't let up, and I couldn't get them to stop. One of my group members was telling me how I would never make it through an engineering program if I didn't learn to lighten up. I'm a mechanical engineering major, and the older, nosy woman turned to me and said, "Weed is way healthier for you than all that antidepressant crap you take, and it would work so much better, too." Someone from one of the other groups came over to ask a question, and when he heard what the discussion was about, he actively started trying to sell me marijuana. I repeatedly told them to stop and that it wasn't funny, and got angry when they wouldn't let up. I put headphones on and turned on music and ignored them for the rest of the class, but they were still talking about it, and I could still hear them over the music. They were saying things about how I couldn't take a joke, and that it must be because I was so young and probably getting so much peer pressure from all sides. I don't think they get that they are the peer pressure. While I've been offered marijuana and alcohol in the past, my other friends have accepted my no thanks without question. I'm honestly pretty upset about it at this point, and I'm not sure how to handle the situation. I have to keep working with them for a while longer, and it seems to be the only thing they bring up anymore. Telling them to stop does nothing. What should I do, Reddit? /relevant comments. Commenter. This would be one I'd go to the professor about. You should be able to work on your project without being constantly hounded. You might be able to be placed in a group with some people your own age. Also, your group members are completely full of crap in terms of what you need in order to be healthy or enjoy yourself. The reason they want you to use marijuana is because they use marijuana, and they are feeling insecure about their own behavior. If you get on board with it, you'll be validating them. Their pressure is being fueled by their own insecurities. Not everyone who uses weed or booze feels this way, by the way. This is about maturity, not which substance you should or shouldn't use to enhance your life. You at 17 are more mature than they are at whatever age they find themselves. Mature people don't need to pressure others to make themselves feel better, be the behavior about weed, booze, Halo 5, or dandelion snorting. Just say no, kids. For the record, there are lots of good, successful people who use marijuana and drink alcohol and find it enhances their lives. This problem really isn't about dope or booze at all. This is about your group members not respecting your boundaries and generally being jerks. So talk to your professor about that and ask to be placed in a different group if possible. If nothing else, you might want to say, "Look, I need a good grade and I'm not confident I will get one when I'm saddled with a clutch of stoners who are obsessed with getting me high. I'm still a minor, professor. Isn't there something in the university's code of ethics about this?" Work hard and good luck. You've got your head on straight. These people won't be your group forever. Ops response. I'll have to talk to the professor about it during our next class. Unfortunately, everyone in the class is significantly older than I am, but I have noticed there are a few groups that seem to have a very professional environment, and I might see if I can join one of those. It's getting to the point where their hounding is not only annoying, but completely getting in the way of them doing any work in class at all, which is really not great. It really helps to hear it put into perspective like this. Thank you. I have several close friends who drink and smoke marijuana, and they have never pressured me to do the same. I'm not sure why these people who don't actually know me that well are so adamant about getting me to help validate their life choices, but such is life, I guess. You're absolutely right there. Many awesome people I know, including my very successful engineer father, are into drinking and marijuana. I make a point of stressing that other people can make their own choices, and I'm not going to judge them or hound them about it, as long as they give me the same courtesy. The problem I have with my group project members is that, unlike most of the people I know, they are not willing to let it go, which is honestly pretty infuriating. I really, really appreciate your response. It's nice to hear from someone who's got their head on straight. As an aside, I ended up Googling dandelion snorting. This was a mistake while eating cucumber, because I have now laughed several seeds out my nose. Update 6 months later. I just realized I hadn't come back to this one. Oops. I brought the issue up to my professor after class one day, but I was nervous and glossed over the important parts, so she didn't really understand how bad things were. As the end of the semester was closing in, I thought that was it, but it wasn't. Our final project was a 30-page paper. As most of the work had to be done outside of class, we divided the assignment into chunks, one for each person, to make it less of a nightmare. My job was to take the pieces, including my own, and edit them into a final whole. James, the only group member who hadn't been prodding me about drugs and alcohol, did his part and sent it to me immediately. I finished my part and started working on the editing, but the other members of the group were curiously silent. I sent polite, and then not so polite reminders that I needed their pieces to finish the project. I heard nothing back. In the end, James and I pulled 2 consecutive all-nighters to finish the paper. Still no contact from the other group members. James and I went in the day of the deadline and presented our paper, absolutely fuming. It went as well as it could have, even with the other group members around. They were pretending like nothing had happened, of course. We stayed back after class and told the professor everything, in detail. She was horrified, and after examining the paper, bailed them both on it. James and I got a collective A+. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. How did the professor come to the conclusion that you were telling the truth when you said that the other persons didn't contribute to the paper? Just curious. Ops response. It's been several months, so don't quote me on this, but I think she looked at writing style, the quality of their previous work, and their track record of not submitting assignments. Maybe the edit history of the document, too? Commenter 2. Good. I had plenty of groups like that in college where a couple of people mooched off the rest of the group and then got an A because we kicked tail. I should have told the professor like you. Also, about the peer pressuring. If that happens again, firmly tell them that you don't appreciate the peer pressure, and if they keep it up, report it to the professor much earlier. Try emailing them next time so you can get your thoughts together. I don't use marijuana either, and I had a lot of people hounding me about it when I was in college. Luckily, I worked at a place that was notorious for its drug testing and used that as the reason why I didn't want to smoke. Even though the truth was I just didn't want to.